The Botanical Research Institute of Texas is proud to announce the recipient of the 2009 International Award of Excellence in Conservation. The honor goes to Dr. E.o. Wilson, Pulitzer Prize-winning author and honorary curator of Harvard's Museum of Comparative Zoology.
We're really very honored that Ed Wilson would come and join us in Fort Worth, that he would receive the Brit Award of Excellence. I think he honors us more than we could ever honor him.
You know, I've known people who are legends in their own mind. This man is truly a legend in his own time. He has for more than 50 years fought a valiant battle against the destruction of biodiversity, a title, a name which he basically invented and popularized. Without him, many of the conservation efforts that we are trying to go through wouldn't be possible.
Recognized as one of the world's greatest living scientists and the father of biodiversity, Dr. Wilson's passion for the natural world began as a young boy.
I call it my bug period. Every kid has one. And what made me different was I just never grew out of mine. It started actually during a brief stint in Washington. I was exposed to the National Zoo, which was near our apartment, and the National Museum, and was awestruck. But then I developed at the same time an interest in insects, butterflies, ants, and when we moved to the south again, to the Gulf Coast, which was almost the tropics and swarming with wonderful forms of life, then I got completely hooked.
Dr. Wilson's lifelong love of insects and the little things was perhaps born out of a traumatic fishing accident at the age of 7.
I was fishing and pulled up a pinfish, which has sharp needle-like spines down the back, and accidentally, carelessly, pulled it up into my eye, and one of the spines gave me a traumatic cataract, which then blinded the eye. So I went through life one-eyed, and this was one of the reasons why I was a lousy bird watcher, and I wasn't too good at dealing with larger animals, and I was fascinated by insects anyway, so I never left them.
The young Eagle Scout's fascination with the natural world led him to the University of Alabama, where he received both a BS and MS in biology, and eventually to Harvard University, where he earned his PhD. In 1978, he won the first Pulitzer Prize with his book On Human Nature. But it was his love of ants that led to the second of his 2 Pulitzer Prizes in 1990 in the encyclopedic work he co-wrote with Bert Hall-Doppler, The Ants.
Who else could write a coffee table book on ants? A wonderful book that anybody can enjoy, from the most accomplished expert to just the guy that picks it up off the coffee table. In fact, in general, Ed's ability to communicate to a broad audience is one of the great gifts that we as his audience have.
As the author of 22 books, many of which are award winners, Dr. Wilson's works inspire and challenge all who read them. His latest work, The Creation, an appeal to save life on Earth, seeks to create a unique alliance between science and religion to save Earth's decaying biodiversity.
His latest book, Creation, which is a letter to a Southern Baptist pastor, really discusses how we can all think about life, biodiversity, and the future of this planet, and how you can bring together a religious view and a scientific view to the common goal of what's really important. And what's really important is our planet and the future of life on our planet.
Let's respect each other. Let's be friends and put off those issues for the time being and meet at the river. Meet in areas that we can agree on, and we need to agree on now, dealing with issues that are transcendent, and unite on the issue of saving life on the planet. It could be done.
Despite his numerous achievements and awards, it is Dr. Wilson's most recent endeavor that is garnering him some of the greatest praise of his career. The Encyclopedia of Life is a project that began in 2003 and seeks to catalog the Earth's estimated 1.8 million known species.
One thing that Ed Wilson's studies have shown us is how little we really know about life, the biodiversity of this planet. And it's not readily accessible.
Everyone realizes we're in a digital age in which it won't be very long before almost everything can be obtained by a few keystrokes by anyone. But when I suggested it, it seemed very radical, and I had a few of my colleagues thinking I was onto something, that is, smoking something. I said, we need an electronic encyclopedia, a web encyclopedia, with a page for every one of the species of living organism, plant, animal, microorganism, that has on it everything known about that species.
The Encyclopedia of Life is a simple concept. It's a concept that attempts to catalog all known species of life on this planet and catalog them before they disappear. And the number of species disappearing on a daily basis from this planet is enormous, but we don't know how many are disappearing because we don't know what they are.
The loss of a single species should be considered catastrophic for future generations. In fact, most of us who work on it in any detail agree that unless we do something to abate the rate of environmental change occurring right now, to somehow get it under control, we could lose or have right at the brink of extinction half the species of plants and animals on Earth by the end of this century.
At the age of 79, Dr. Wilson still has a childlike passion for nature, and he has evolved into one of the leading advocates for conservation and biodiversity.
I like to think of all of this in terms of a wonderful statement made by the late John Sawhill. He said, a society is defined not only by what it creates, but by what it refuses to destroy. I think we really need, in all of this, to get concerned, and it's certainly within our power to do so. It's a set about destroying less.
Dr. Wilson has been recognized as a genius of modern science and one of the most important thinkers of the 20th century. But despite all the success, awards, and accolades, Dr. Wilson remains a true Southern gentleman.
Well, most great people are humble, and I think Ed Wilson is a perfect example of that.
You're always learning. Whatever's going on, he's got something he can bring in. He's always teaching.
You know, I'm just a kid from Alabama who fell in love with natural history and was given the privilege, especially here at Harvard, to actually make a living doing it, and actually to finding that it has some real importance.
The 2009 International Award of Excellence in Conservation recipient, Dr. E.o. Wilson.